So, I want to start being silly goofy on this. Stop being whoever was on here before, because it certainly wasn't me. So, hello again. I am Brittany Kennedy, and I am a mess 90% of the time. Art is pretty much the way I become not a mess and quiet my brain and turn her off, which is great. Which is ironic because growing up, I think art was the only way I felt like I was better than everyone at. Like, does that even make sense? I don't know. I felt like I was pretty mediocre about most things, which looking back is just not true. I was pretty good at a lot of things, but art was the one I hyperfixated on in high school and was like, you know what, I'm really good at this, and like no one else is. Like, I'm the best. Was I the best? No, I wasn't, but I felt like I was the best, and I think that's half the battle. It's just feeling like you are the best at something and being so incredibly delusional about it that it turns into reality. Like, I look back at some of my art teachers who taught me in high school, and one of them, my all-time favorite, his name was Mr. Gledhill. Mr. Gledhill, if you see this or listen to this, or you're still teaching in Midland, Michigan, shout out to you, my man, because you probably don't even remember me or my art, because back then it really wasn't that memorable, and all I knew how to do was copy pictures. However, you had the biggest impact on me by saying one sentence, one singular sentence, and it was, no one else is going to see your reference, so why do you think it needs to be exactly like the reference photo? Why is that defining how good you think your painting is? Which I think is really profound, and it has really sat with me my entire life, and I didn't start listening to that until I started taking my art seriously and wanted to make some money and also have a full-time art career. So now that that sentiment has set in and eaten my brain alive, I'm to the point where actually no painting or drawing I ever do is anywhere close to the reference photo, but to the point where I don't care about proportions anymore, which is kind of detrimental, but at the same time keeps me really safe from copyright, which I really enjoy. So this painting of this lovely woman started out from 3 different reference photos. One for her face, one for the background, and then one for kind of the like positioning of her arms, because the original reference photo I had, her arms were so complicated and her fingers were the main entertainment of the piece, and I'm still learning hands, guys. Hands are so hard to paint and draw. I don't know what it is. If I could never paint them again, I would. So in this painting, you see no hands. She ain't got no hands. Just kidding. She does have hands, but they're hidden. And the daisies, that was just me, you know, riffing with the old noggin. But anyway, so as I was saying, back to Mr. Gledhill. He was great dude. If you have had him as an art teacher, or you know who I'm talking about, you also understand how fantastic he was. But at the same time, I don't think he would remember me or know me or even be semi-interested in what I'm doing right now. And I think that was the best part about him, is he just didn't give a fuck. And I really admired that. So I was, you know, over here thinking I was top shit, and he was over there humbling me daily. So shout out to you, sir, for making me feel like I could never be a full-time artist, because that really drove me. Just kidding. It's not that serious. It wasn't that serious. It was more of a, hey, you're just as good as everyone else, so you need to try harder kind of vibe, and that really drove me insane. So every piece I ever created for that class, I was going so hard. Some of my best artwork, honestly. I did this really cool piece with like four of the same photo of my face, but then in different color palettes of Prismacolor pencils, and I was so proud of that thing. And I don't think I even have a picture of it or know where that art piece went, and I'm really sad about it because it was pretty cool. Maybe I'll try and recreate it with oil pastels. That'd be fun. Anyway, and then I had another art teacher. I can't remember her name to save my life, but she was in also Midland, Michigan, in Midland High, and she was something else. She was the craziest lady I've ever met in my life. Most people who had her art class hated it, but I didn't. I really liked her. She was just a kooky little lady, and I really appreciated her take. And you know what? She thought my art was the best thing since sliced bread, and I really appreciated that. Maybe that's why I liked her, actually, looking back at this. But anyway, one of my funniest realizations I've ever had is I never used oil pastel until that last year in high school, which was with this art teacher. And ironically, probably one of my best pieces I ever did was in oil pastel. It was of this girl. You could only see her eyeball, and back then I was really good at eyes, and I loved drawing eyes. It was the only thing I felt like I was good at doing without a reference. And so her eyeball was the focus of the painting, and then her red hair was just everywhere. And I think that's where my obsession with drawing red hair and redheads in general came from, because she took that painting from me and they hung it up in City Hall. And no, not City Hall, the Capitol. Step further, the Capitol. And to this day, I think about that moment because I felt so proud of this piece. And you know what? In the end, it was still a copy of a reference, which is crazy. Nothing was ever created from my brain back then. So I'm very proud of how I utilize references now, and just how much better I've gotten at being less focused on picture perfect references and using my little noggin and all its knowledge at its full potential, which is great. So anyway, back to this lovely lady as we are fixing her up. Oil pastels have quickly become one of my favorite mediums, and it's mostly because I can't be too perfect with them. I can't hyperfixate on the details. I have to just get down and block in the shading and the value and the highlights. And so it's really helped me release that perfectionist piece of me that really was standing in my way. Because now I'm creating art like this that I actually love and enjoy, and I look at it and I go, you know what, you created that, and it's not a copy of anyone else's work. And a lot of it comes down to just releasing myself from, yes, I want to make money at this. Yes, I want to be a full-time artist. Yes, I want to quit my corporate job. But to do so, I have to be good at this. And to be good, that means I need to practice, and I need to make mistakes, and I need to do the hard things. And so inherently, I'm doing the hard things by, ironically, creating some of my best art. And I think that's quite fun. So yeah, I hope you're enjoying this process and this little yap session with me. I recently decided to just be myself on the internet, and I think that's a really scary thing to decide because, you know, the internet is a pretty judgy place, and I'm kind of a weird duck. Like, in high school, I think I had maybe 2 friends, and one of them was from sports, and then the other was just someone I picked up along the way, and both of those friends are no longer in my life anymore. And I think it was because in high school I masked myself so hard to like try and fit in, to the point where I stifled all personality that I had. And I also had no use for people. Like, I genuinely didn't care that I didn't have friends. Now in my adult life, I'm realizing how important friendship is, but like true friendship, not this bullshit that you get in high school of, oh my god, she's my best friend, but like if I got stuck on the side of the road, she would never show up. Like, that's not friendship. So I think high school really showed me that people are all just trying to be liked, and whatever they need to do to accomplish that, they will do. And so now in my adult life, I am not trying to be liked. I'm just trying to show people that it's okay to be weird, and it's okay to be your authentic self, and people will like that because they don't see it a lot. Because everyone's faking. Everyone's trying to be liked, and in the process of trying to be liked, we're not being liked, which is very ironic. So, yeah, if you are in a place right now where you feel like you have to mask to be liked, and I keep using the word mask because I am autistic, so it's a helpful term I use, because when I learned the term, everything clicked and everything made sense to me. That, oh yeah, duh, like, duh, that's what you've been doing your whole life. That's why you get home from school and you immediately go isolate yourself from your family who actually does love you for you, and you don't want to talk to anyone for the next 24 hours until school starts again. 12 hours, whatever. Math. And honestly, it had a big impact on my mom and I's relationship growing up, and we have since remedied that relationship. But she thought I didn't like her, I think. She's never said that, but I think back then it was like, why does my daughter not want to hang out with me? Why does my daughter hate me? Oh my god, she's probably so depressed because she has no friends. And being the most angel mother, I'm very, very, very blessed with my upbringing and my parents, but my mom specifically is just a saint. Anyone she meets, she has this huge impact on them. And for me, it was never anything against her. She was always so happy and smiling and content and would love to yap. And I would get into this place of, I just spent 8 hours with people nonstop who I had to be someone else to feel like I wasn't insane and looked at differently. The last thing I want to do right now is talk to another human being. And so it was never against her. So she knows that now. We've talked about it many times after I basically told her I was autistic, and it explains my entire life. So yeah, I'm really happy with where I am at the whole unmasking piece. And if you're questioning how to do that, I don't know. It was definitely something I learned along the way. I feel like pieces of me just started to show through. And whenever I got validation from my friends and family that person they really enjoy, and that's the Brittany that they know and love, I just kind of let more and more pieces show through, which was quite nice. And honestly, I think it all started with my best friend, Steph. She came into my life. We hated each other. I'll do another video on that because I think it's a very funny story. We hated each other so much, and then we ended up being best fucking friends, and now we're inseparable. She was my maid of honor in my wedding, and is certainly not going anywhere from my life. And I don't think we would be such good friends if I had been masking the way I was in high school. And I think that's a really cool thing to realize, that this friend that I would literally die for is my friend because I'm authentically myself now. So if you're thinking about starting to show cracks of your true personality and who you are as a person, it's not as easy as just taking off the cloak and deciding that you're going to be you. As autistics, that's just like not how life works. But if you're not autistic, obviously you could do that. You can just take the cloak off. You can just start being yourself, which is great. So you should start doing that, because people tend to like it way more than you being fake. And I think that's why social media is so crazy, is the people who are huge on social media tend to be the ones who are actually showing personality. Those who are doing the same thing as everyone else and also not showing their personality, you're not gonna grow on social media. Like, it's just not gonna happen. So start being yourself if you're trying to grow a following, but also start being yourself in life, because you too will also grow a following in in real life and not fake life. So anyway, that was my rant today. Let's finish up this lovely girl in the rain. She deserves our time and attention for the next couple minutes as she's coming to life. So she was inspired by my latest thrifting video where I thrifted a bunch of frames. And this frame is very, very, very basic. It's just a rounded corner, more yellowy kind of 90s wood. But the shape and the softness of it kind of inspired how soft I made this painting. And honestly, when I added the rain, I was like, oh my god, did I ruin this painting completely? But no, I think with the frame and the vibes, it's perfect. It's exactly what I wanted it to be. It is blurry, and you can feel her happiness of being out in the rain and the sun beaming through. And in this painting, drawing, whatever you want to call it, I wanted to convey that it just started raining, and it's also like kind of sprinkling, like misty, and not just like full downpour, which is why her hair is still kind of dry and the flowers are, not wilted and dead being crushed by the rain. But I wanted to emanate that feeling of like effervescence and like joy when you are out in the rain. Like, I love the rain so much. It's so soothing. I love a good storm too. Ooh, maybe I'll paint like a stormy version. That would be really, really fun. Thanks, guys. That's a great idea. We'll circle back. But yeah, I love the rain. I love the sound of rain. I love the smell of rain. Rain is just so beautiful. And I feel like so many people hate the rain. But I guess when you have to go stand out in it and you're not prepared for it and it's cold, it has its drawbacks. But when you're inside and you're just like staring out your window, so nice. Or when you are prepared for it and you just go stand out in it, like this girl in the rain. Highly recommend. So she is actually now up on my website for purchase. If you enjoyed this rant and or enjoy my art, you can go purchase her. There are not prints up yet, just the original, but please let me know in the comments if you would be interested in prints of this girl in the rain, and I can probably make that happen. They're probably just going to be a limited series. I tend not to do open edition prints, but we'll see. We'll see how many comments we get if we actually want to go for a limited series and an open edition. But I appreciate you guys for watching. It has been so fun, and I hope you have a magical, fantastical, lovely day, that you are showing up authentically as yourself. You're leaving the mask at the door, and yeah. As we finish little rain girl here. I'm gonna show you guys the final product in a nice little zoom out, and then also show you how she looks in her little frame. So if you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I really appreciate you guys, and I'll see you later.